funky.
Of the United Nations Meditation Room. The meditation room, sometimes called a room of quiet, was opened in 1952 and then renovated in 1957. Dag Hammarskjöld did much of the design work. Sweden donated the 6-ton iron ore stone altar as a sign of permanence in a world of change. The 12 benches found in the room were designed by Carl Malmsteen, a Swedish furniture designer, architect, and educator. In this room, there is an abstract mural by Swedish artist Bo Beskow, Hammarskjöld's close friend. This mural highlights the room and is painted in blue, white, yellow, and grey geometric forms. The one black dot or half circle brings the visitor's eye to the point of rest. This design was decided upon to align with the room's inner faith purposes, where people could withdraw into themselves regardless of their faith, creed, or religion. At the opening ceremony, Hammarskjöld said, and I quote, "We have within us a center of stillness surrounded by silence. This house, dedicated to work and debate in the service of peace, should have one room dedicated to silence in the outward sense and stillness in the inner sense. People of many faiths will meet here, and for that reason, none of the symbols to which we are accustomed in our meditation could be used." Now here's why I find this room very, very strange. How is it there is an iron ore altar that weighs 6.5 tons, yet it is dedicated to all the gods of the earth? That sounds very fishy, doesn't it? No matter which way you look at it, every god that is known to mankind is jealous. Jesus won't share that altar with anybody. In fact, it's an abomination. If you look at the Bible, the Christian God will wipe out people who don't even worship him, women, children, cows, goats, and everything, just because he cannot tolerate people who worship other gods to get near him or his people. Same thing if you look at Allah. There is zero tolerance in Islam for the worship of any other god. I think in some countries you might even be put to death because that is an abomination. But yet here in the United Nations, we are having a room with an altar that is allegedly built for all gods on earth. So if you're Muslim, you go there and pray. If you're Christian, you go there and pray. If you're a Satanist, you go there and pray. If you're to ask me which god occupies this room, because every altar must have a deity behind it. The only deity who is like a spiritual prostitute that is willing to receive worship and prayer from any and all corners is none other than the great deceiver, Iblis, or Satan. Remember, his primary goal is to drag down as many souls as he can, deep down under, at the end of his days, to burn with him. And what better place to do so than at the United Nations? Right in the middle of the United Nations, where people are fooled to believe that you can go in there and pray irrespective of your religion. Religion cannot be like prostitution. You cannot just accept worship from everybody. Christians, Muslims, Satanists, Buddhists, there are people who even worship themselves. They believe they are gods. They also go there and pray. That place is very, very sinister. There is a God behind that altar, and believe you me, it is the God of this world. It's written that all that is in this earth is owned by Satan. That's why even when Jesus was fasting, he appeared before him and offered to give him all the wealth that he can see with his eyes, because clearly the earth was given to him as his inheritance. The other reason why this United Nations room, and now actually not just the room but the entire United Nations headquarters, is very fishy. This land that the United Nations is built upon previously belonged to the Rockefeller family, and they donated it to the United Nations. Now prior to that, this land harbored a slaughterhouse. Lots of blood, we are talking gallons and gallons and gallons, spilled on that land. And then that is where the United Nations decided this is the best place for us to set up a place of convergence for all the countries in the world to deliberate upon security issues through the United Nations Security Council, to deliberate world problems through the United Nations General Assembly. And then we also build a generalized prayer room for each and every god and each and every believer upon soil that was previously a slaughterhouse. Isn't that very strange? Then when you go to the United Nations own website, an organization called Lucy's Trust is recognized by the United Nations as a non-governmental organization that is in partnership with the United Nations since way back. And Lucy's Trust is a non-demonic organization. All they push day in, day out is the demonic agenda. And those are the bodies that the United Nations wines and dines with. But that is not even what I want to get into in this video. The issue of a single prayer room that houses all gods and all religions. That one is a red flag. Like I said, there is only one God in existence on this earth. He's not even a God, just self-proclaims to be one. And this is the only fellow who can take worship from each and every religion and from each and every person, because the moment you worship him, you are destined to go down under. And he has somehow managed to convince the United Nations at its inception to accommodate him by giving him an altar and a prayer room. President William Ruto should never go to that room to pray when he visits the United Nations. Neither should our First Lady. Even Aden Duale, who is a Muslim, when he goes there, he should not pray in that room.